We're going to stick to and adhere to the Alamo plan and its guiding principles. We made that statement loud and clear last Friday. In agreement that we're going to work together to try to find what path forward is in the best interest of the project, and all of us as a cooperative agreement has outlined. And so we've agreed to meet again this coming Friday and meet as often as we need to try to figure out a lot of the moving parts with this project. Regarding the presentation itself with the THC, there was something at least that was abundantly clear to me that there is essentially now two paths on this project. The path that we've always been on, which is adhering to the vision and guiding principles and telling a complete story at the Alamo and completing a world-class project, a project that is inclusive of all the stories, inclusive in so many ways. And then there was the push by the Lieutenant Governor and John Now for a very exclusive 13-day 1836 story. And certainly I think this is something that I won't entertain and think it's misguided, and I think that has been also part of a conversation amongst the THC members in terms of how they feel that the project can be changed. And so part of that has been the complexity in which we've put this project together. As you know, there's this Citizens Advisory Committee, but there's also the Management Committee, which is a tri-party agreement between the City of San Antonio, the General Land Office, and the Alamo Trust. And those parties all have to also agree, and they make up the different components of the project. We made it clear to the chair, John Now, and I can say that I personally did back in February when I sat down and met with him about this project, and he made it clear that he wanted to tell a very different story. He wanted to change the plan. He also wanted to change the contract. I explained how that was not something that was feasible. This is we have been working on this for nearly 6 years. 6 years of hard work to arrive to what we thought was a proper plan, a proper compromise, and one that was led by telling a complete story as expressed in the vision and guiding principles. I think many people would ask if I was surprised about the vote, and the answer was no, especially because of my meeting with John Now. Unfortunately, I think that this is the direction that the chair wanted to go, and it was really an uphill battle. We are proud that the AAB, it's basically the technical arm of the THC, did agree with us and voted to recommend the approval, and I think we can all be proud of that. But this is, as we try to tell everybody, this is not simply a vote on the cenotaph, but rather a vote on the entire project as a whole. And so, of course, we have to evaluate, what are our next steps, what we can do moving forward. After the vote, we did take down the construction fencing around the cenotaph because it's not going anywhere. I know that part of it went back up. I could say that I understand that some of you would prefer that fencing come down, and I'm in agreement with you. I'm fine with that. But some folks feel that for now that the fencing needs to be up for security reasons. But we'll work on making sure that fencing comes down as soon as practicable.
Sure would, now that it's been opened up like this, anybody else can come and tear apart whatever they want, because we had an agreement. We worked on it for you all worked on it for years. We came, as you say, to a compromise where nobody got everything they wanted, but everybody got a little bit of what they wanted. So now that plan is become unraveled. And when things become unraveled, this is just the beginning of the steepest slippery slope in my mind that there is. Because what is it going to do? Just cause more delay. And more delay means more meeting, more time, more money, more taxpayer money going down the drain. I don't know what the cost of what we have done up to now is, but whatever it is, it's just gone, you know.
I would like to reiterate that the guiding principles are so critical to where we are and to the support that we've garnered within the community and the trust that I thought we had earned within the community.
Thank you, Councilman Trevino. So here's my question. Here's my concern. I know you're asking us to authorize the tri-chairs to put out a statement, but I have to tell you, and I have to tell the rest of my colleagues, is that this is about confidence even within our committee and our leadership as well. Because I'll tell you, I asked very specifically over a year ago from the tri-chairs and yourself to clarify some things for me in regards to the committee in this role. And I asked specifically, I received from staff, when I asked about board ethics and commissions, I was told that the rules of boards and commissions was waived on us in 2014. I asked you and the secretaries and Lori Houston very specifically, can you clarify if the City of San Antonio rules for boards and commissions were waived in 2014? And what rules are applicable to our committee? I asked, how does a committee member request to put items on the agenda? And I asked, can you clarify the role of our Alamo Citizens Advisory Committee? According to the city's website, the committee, in quotations, continues to meet and provides feedback on development of the comprehensive interpretive plan. You know as well as I know that this email has not been answered. Only one question was answered, and I was heard by yourself, and I was told that you will work diligently to get those answers for me. This was back in November of last year, and I still haven't heard any answers, and I've been waiting.
Okay, Ramon, let me, because again, I just want to give everybody else a chance to speak, and what I'll do is I'll ask, City Attorney Office is here as well, and what I'll do is I'll ask for this to be an offline conversation with you, because I think that this could dominate the entire conversation, and I don't want to do that.
Yes, thank you, and thank you, Councilman, for gathering us all together today, you and the other members of the tri-chairs, members of the committee. And welcome, and hello to everybody. We've not had a chance to speak in some time. 3 quick questions, Councilman Trevino. The first is, there was reference to the agreement and the kind of a breakdown of the agreement. Could you tell me specifically which agreement we're talking about? Are we talking about the lease agreement? Just so we kind of all understand what we're referring to in that context.
So I'm not at liberty to discuss, any details of that. We're talking about all agreements, and the point is this is about the plan, and we're currently having conversations about how we're able to move forward. That's really it. The bottom line is that we are committed as an Alamo Management Committee to the Alamo plan and the guiding principles that were brought forth by this group. So, we're still trying to we want to be thoughtful, thoughtful, and not rush through anything.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. I absolutely agree with everything you've said, Roberto, and with Lionel and with Sue Ann. But it seems to me like we're in a fight, a dog fight, if you would. It's political, and I think that we need advice on how to go forward, and I think we're going to have to get political. I'm not sure what that means, but I personally would support bringing in a consultant to help you all, us all, but you all are the spokespeople, but someone to really strategize. And we're going to have, it looks like, with the Lieutenant Governor and John now weighing in on this, we're going to have to get a whole lot more political than we've been. I mean, we've been operating on, the first thing I said after the meeting was, I thought the city of San Antonio owned the Cenotaph and the plaza. And so it looks to me like there's lots of legal issues here, and I know you have attorneys working in it, and I'm sure you cannot comment on in this forum unless we're in executive session. But I, for one, would support whatever you have to do to develop a strategy to make sure that this plan goes forward.
Our attorneys, our city attorney's office, attorneys over at the General Land Office, and others are working hard to find those legal avenues to get a better understanding. I will say, though, that in terms of the politics, the success of this project has come about because of the hard work of this group and the management committee, and despite the politics, it pulled politics out because we know that it's politics that can insert things that are not based on fact, or do not consider the subject matter experts, or care too much about an agreed upon process. So I want us to be very careful to not get political, but to remain resolved in telling the facts, in sticking to what's really important to us as a community, and telling a complete story at the Alamo. But we will do everything we can, and I do think, which is to your point, that something that can help is a statement from this committee that reaffirms the guiding principles, because that in a way really shows the commitment of this group, and I think can help with some of the politics that I think are being miscalculated here by this particular group. George, and then we'll go to Bill.
First of all, it's been almost 2 years since this group was assembled as a full group, and I want to thank the time that you have shared and all of the members have shared to make this a community. And I felt personally insulted by the lack of respect that was shown to the city of San Antonio, particularly you and Laurie at the meeting last week, and for generations and centuries, the Tapilan people who were the first, who've been here the longest, the disrespect that the state has shown Ramon and all the members of his community. But I do not trust the San Antonio legal department, because when we were writing we're trying as a group to deal with the lease, many of us went to legal and had ideas, and we were blown off. And my particular position was that we are the landlords, and I was trying to put some teeth into the contract. So if we've got a bad tenant who wants to change the function of our property, we have the right to address them as landlords. And I think that the roles are getting reversed. This is San Antonio's property, Alamo Plaza. It's been an area where people have lived. It is a cemetery. It is a battleground. It is a commercial zone. And those are all things that are part of the character and the blood of San Antonio. And I just feel that our role still is a landlord. And I don't want a bad tenant for the next 100 years or 50 years if we decide we have to wait 50 years to get them out. I think that if they violate our trust of that they're going to respect the guiding principles as part of their tenant agreement, and you try to break that, we can evict them. And I think that you need a bulldog when you go into these meetings. And I care for all three of you tri-chairs, but you guys aren't me. And and I think that we need a bulldog on there. And let's not hide the fact. It is not about the 13 days. This is about race and pigment. They want to preserve their white establishment icon. And everybody knows that that's not the true story. So, Roberto, you and I, and LIONAL, particularly, we've put a lot of time together through the years. And I know you're decent people. But you're not mean enough to handle this, and we need to find someone to represent the tri-chairs in session. And my respect for Ramon in particular, you need to spend more time listening to what he's saying. Those, we need to find out who's under that plaza. We need to give them the respect. And I am so glad that Doug is out of here. That mercenary that came in for $2,000 a day. We now need to say that it's a leadership problem at the trust, the leadership problem at the GLO, it's a leadership problem at THC. But it's our property, okay? We're the landlords.
Number one, Andy doesn't look like it, but he's a real bulldog. And Andy Segovia, our city attorney, again, and I have Susan and Gwen here. I will ask them that if they can make some time to go over the lease with you, they'd be happy to do that. I want to reassure you that Andy Segovia wrote a very strong lease. We do own the property. This was one of the biggest points that we made back in 2018. We do still own the land. We have teeth. We have say, and I just want to reassure everybody that that's there now. Again.
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity. How many aspects of the plan does the THC have a vote over? Is one question, and then it seems like as the THC delayed making this decision for months, we never met over that period of time. I wasn't aware that the THC was doing a poll, and people I asked also wasn't aware of that. I just think we missed a big opportunity there to get our heads together and to, when it looked like the THC was not going to be in favor of this, we missed an opportunity to try to answer their questions, provide them a plan B. If they clearly were not going to move the cenotaph, and get them to agree on some other, intermediate step. Just seems to me like we missed some opportunities there as a group and as a organization to get a successful result. And the biggest concern of mine and others about the project is the impact of delay. And this is just going to put more delay. It's already delayed, and this is going to put more delay into the project, and it's very harmful. I mean, my hotel is still closed mostly because of the impact of it being surrounded by fencing. So
Okay.
that's my point.
Okay.
That's my point.
So, Bill, let me just say that there was a delay. The delay from THC. The permit request was submitted in December of last year, and there have been countless delays on the part of the THC and directed by the chair. I expressed my concern over that. This is it is unfortunate that we landed this way. As far as the poll that you mentioned, I think it's a great question, and it's a question we all have, because I don't think many of us didn't know about it either, and we certainly feel that it's not a scientific poll, and it's one that I think that somebody should actually look into in terms of what was really how that worked and who that poll represented. So those are some great points, but I can also assure you that there was a lot of work that went into trying to get there. Okay, Forrest.
There we go. How about now?
There you go, Forrest.
Okay, thank you. On that poll and that vote, I was very involved in that. If everybody follows the Alamo's Facebook site, they were advertising that almost daily about get out and vote yes, get out and vote yes. That vote could go to anybody in the nation. I even had a friend vote yes in Canada. So it wasn't Texans 29,000 to 1,600 like they say, for one thing. But if we can keep up with the Alamo Facebook site or the website, you will see what's going on a daily basis. And they were pushing that poll real hard. But other groups like This is Texas Freedom Force and some of the other not one incher groups were big mailers, Republican Party mailer of 160,000 people pushing for the no vote. So that's how they got their numbers up.
Let me answer that. Forrest, while I realize, I think part of the technical explanation was to talk about the issues with trying to repair in place. I want to be clear, and I think everybody here who's been on this for almost 6 years on this project, the reasoning for relocating the cenotaph, which was unanimously all approved both by the Management Committee and the Citizens Advisory Committee, was not entirely a technical reason. It was what really was in line with following the vision and guiding principles, and a philosophical one and a moral one about how we tell the stories. And you cannot tell a complete story at the Alamo. I think we have to be very, very blunt about the fact that there is an object, a very, very big object that towers over the site. It was put in a place that, for the most part at the time, they did not know was in the middle of the historic footprint.
I'm kind of new to this committee, and I think it'd be good too that when people speak to talk about the organization, if you're with an organization, so that we know what organization you represent. It's been a while since this group has met. I'm with the Fiesta Commission, I'm the Fiesta Commission President, so I'm just trying to ascertain the effect of the ruling of the Texas Historic Commission I'm all for the guiding principles and what you've talked about and being supportive of those guiding principles. But what I want to know is what effect, and we haven't really talked about, the ruling the Texas Historical Commission has on those guiding principles. Does that mean that you're going to continue the battle of trying to move the cenotaph, or are we going to, based on those guiding principles, we're going to find a way to make the ruling that was made by the Texas Historical Commission to work with our guiding principles? What are our next steps? So today you want us to endorse the guiding principles, which I'm all for. What are our next steps? Which we've talked about delayed. The second part of this is I keep hearing about the city owns the land and the city, the whole reason the state's involved in this is because of the money they bring. That's the biggest reason. And so, if we want the state out of this, then we got to find ways to bring money to the table so that we don't have to rely on the state money. You saw Lieutenant Governor's comments about, he's willing to put more money in the budget if that's what we need.
We're running out of time, and I do want to answer that. I think you're asking, number one, the state brought money to repair the church and the Longberg. The city's putting money on the Alamo Plaza, and I think since you're one of the newest, you may not know that the biggest contributor to this is private fundraising that was meant to build a museum for the Alamo. It's not the state of Texas. One of the reasons that we've all been a part of this and have agreed to this is because as we plan a museum, as we plan an outdoor museum, which is part of the Alamo Plaza, is that it was going to adhere to the vision and guiding principles. The interpretive telling was going to be inclusive and make sure that we tell this story, this broad story, an inclusive one to everyone. As far as what are the next steps, I think I outlined that in the very beginning when I said the management committee will be meeting again Friday. As soon as we, as management committee, have outlined what we know is going to be more specific next steps, we will consult with this group immediately. This will be the first group that we contact about what those next steps are. So that's where we are on this. And like I said, I know we're running out of time, and I just want to revisit, this committee agreeing to, and I think I'm hearing that we would agree to put out a statement from the tri-chairs in this committee reaffirming our commitment to the Alamo plan and the guiding principles. As far as the next steps, we will know that, but we're going to move methodically and thoughtfully through this.
Me?
Yes.
This is Davis Phillips, and I'm on the committee representing the tourism industry.
Yes, sir.
I haven't seen any statement yet, so you're asking all of us to support some sort of broad statement, and we've already voted to support the guiding principles. So I'd like to see what the statement's going to be. The other thing that I'm confused on is did the group? I think, first of all, let me back up a second. We spent 15 or 20 minutes taking roll out of our hour meeting. This group hasn't met in over a year. I think we need longer than 40 minutes to discuss all that's going on. There's so much happening. And my sense is, what I'm hearing is that we're going to draw a line in the sand and we're going to continue to fight about the location of the cenotaph rather than looking for ways to adapt and move this plan forward. I hope that's not the case. Not because not because I think it's a bad idea to move the cenotaph or leave it or whatever, but at this point, it's a huge sticking point. And am I correct in that they want us to bring, the THC asked us to bring back two different permits, one for restoration and one for relocation? Is that correct?
That's what the chairman asked for, yes.
Okay. And so what you're telling us right now, that until your management group meets on Friday, that we really don't know what we're doing. Is that correct? Other than we want to move forward.
Again, what we do know, Davis, is that the THC rule that we cannot move the cenotaphs. Barring any miracle, that's not changing. we as a committee understand that there's many other parts to this project, and I think you know that better than most. This is not just about the cenotaph. That's what I'm saying. And so the management committee has to meet, because what's important to us is completing a very thoughtful project, and not one that compromises the vision and guiding principles. So we're trying to navigate through that, and we're being thoughtful about this. And I do apologize that it took us 15 minutes to do a roll call, but this is unfortunately the state in which we're in with this pandemic. We will try to be more efficient at our next meeting, and we will have a next meeting. As I said, I will update you with what the management committee has said as soon as we have outlined what we think is best for the entire cooperative agreement.
Francisco Hernandez, and I have ancestry buried in the Alamo property. I think we all agree with the guiding principles, but from the actions of the last two presentations that I sat in on, I still have heard nothing on the American Indian remains or the cemetery. There's been nothing on early Hispanics. In fact, we've sat through two presentations on the Woolworth building and the African American history of that encompasses the Alamo plan. It seems that you all picked the wrong fight in trying to move the cenotaph, and it wasn't a vote that you were surprised on. And now we're at a big impasse, and listening to the other comments, we continue to waste time, as you said, as Lionel mentioned. I've lost a lot of confidence in this team that's leading this effort. And so, I'm very confused on where this is going. This is one of the most bizarre committees I've ever sat on. We find out news in the paper, and now to the last point, you're asking for our support without even seeing a statement. I would like to see you stick to the guiding principles. I'd like to see answers to Ramon's questions on the Native Americans and the cemetery. I'd like to see presentations on the early Hispanics. That, to me, demonstrates a commitment to the guiding principles. And those are things we have yet to see.
Okay, thank you, Leonard. Again, we will draft something out and email to the group for their input and try to get general consensus. Okay, so again, with that, we have maybe a minute to close. I want to again point out that we will be meeting with the management committee on Friday and get this group an update about what results of that meeting, and hopefully set up another meeting to discuss. As I mentioned, this is not about any one element. This is about the entire project. So we'll continue to try to move forward methodically and thoughtfully. And so again, with that, I just want to say thank you for joining us, and we'll go ahead and close out this.